What's up, you guys? Charlie, I see you in the chat already. How you doing? Happy Monday. Justin will be here, everyone. He is finishing up a phone call right now, so he'll be here any minute. Don't worry. It won't just be me by myself talking to you guys. I promise. The interesting person, Justin, he'll be here in a minute. I want to give everybody a chance to hop on in here. How you guys doing on this Monday? Don't know what part of the States or whatever country you live in. Don't know what the weather's like there, but it's been pretty crappy here in Ohio. So, you know. But how's everybody doing? Got my handy dandy Michael Myers Halloween 2 cup. I'm drinking milk. I promise. Hello, Sarah. Justin will be here any minute. He said he was finishing up a call with his grandma. So I should maybe give him a hard time when he gets in here, but I won't. But how's everybody doing? You guys ready to talk about horror movies that never got a sequel, that needed one, deserved one? Well, that's what we're doing today. That's today's topic. There's going to be movies that Justin and I have both talked about before, whether it be in our horror remakes video, unappreciated horror movies, so on and so forth. So you'll see some mentions of movies that we've already talked about, but that happens. We're gonna be addressing movies we feel like need sequels. What's up? How you doing, man? You watched Dr. Sleep and you loved it. Yes, thank you. I was gonna say we kept telling you every week you had to watch Dr. Sleep, so I'm glad you finally did. Oh, and Justin is here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get him in here.
Hold on, I'm right here. Let me just adjust. I'll be right with you. Let me just adjust something real quick. Sorry.
You're good.
All right, I'm just kind of, hello, how are you?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Let me try to, sorry I'm a little late. I just had to finish up a phone call with a family member.
You're good, you're good.
All right.
Wanted to go live at 5 just to make sure everyone knew, hey, we're here, don't worry. I was just giving everybody the lowdown on what today's topic is. Horror movies that deserve a sequel, need a sequel, I want to have a sequel, whatever that may be. That's today's topic. So I'm interested to talk about that. What about you?
I'm interested. I was trying to pick out some movies and I'm like, it was a little bit challenging. I was like, I love a challenge though. Like I picked out 10 of them here and yeah, I think all of these, I think there's going to be some that I think maybe 3 at least that we're going to kind of have the same pick. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it was a challenge and I love a challenge. So I'm excited.
How you doing? How's your week been?
Oh, it's been great. So far, so good. It's been the weather's nice here. It's been cold though. Like we've had some like kind of chilly, almost fall-like weather. So
yeah, that's what I was saying before you hopped in. I was talking about the weather and everything because obviously I'm in Ohio, so I've been experiencing what you have.
Yeah.
Yesterday felt like fall. Like it was
yeah.
crazy. But
I know.
All right, guys. Okay, so Sarah says, hey, Justin, hugs.
Hello, Sarah. Hugs to you.
We've also got Pat in here.
What's up, Pat? How are you doing, buddy?
Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
All right. So, Justin, give us your first pick for all
right.
that needs a sequel.
Okay, so I'm just going to start off with this. I might, some people might shake their heads. You will agree with this. I'm going to go with Child's Play, the 2019 remake. There we go. Reboot. It's not really a remake. It's more of a remake reboot. Yeah, first of all, when I saw this in theaters, this one totally surprised me because I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. I went in definitely open-minded. I never wanted to be. I was never kind of negative about this reboot because I thought we could use a more maybe serious approach to a Child's Play movie. That's no disrespect to that original franchise because I love that franchise and I'm looking forward to the TV show. But when they were developing it, I was looking forward to it. So when I saw the movie, I went in open-minded. I didn't hype myself up, and I wound up really enjoying it. And then they end it to where there could be that possible sequel. And so I would definitely love to see a follow-up to this. I mean, it's two different universes. This is, I believe, MGM slash Fox slash Orion. So they could do their franchise, and then we can have the classic Chucky franchise that we know. So yeah, I would definitely love a sequel to this one. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I pulled that movie too. Obviously, I want a sequel to that movie. You guys know how I feel about it. Justin knows how I feel about it. We both really enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
There's something interesting that I want to mention to everybody. If you did not catch this news earlier this week, MGM was purchased by Amazon for $8 billion.
Yeah.
Which means that MGM, Orion, everything like that has been purchased by Amazon. So now the rights to making a sequel to the Child's Play reboot lay in Amazon's hands. So if Amazon chooses to do it, they can do it. There's also another movie on this list that I think needs a sequel that also is part of that MGM umbrella that I think you guys are really going to be excited to hear about. And this is one that's been talked about getting a sequel for a while. So I'm not going to address that one yet, not until I get to it. But we're going to start off with the most obvious for me. You guys saw the just super high quality thumbnail I made on Snapchat. Yes, I made that on Snapchat.
I loved it.
Yeah, put Justin's head coming out of the pumpkin. You know, it was great. So, what movie was on the thumbnail? Well, of course, we've talked about it. Trick or Treat. Can't say enough about this movie. We've talked about it ad nauseum, guys. But the thing is, Legendary, I feel like, is missing a golden opportunity to make a sequel to this movie because this movie has become a modern horror phenomenon. Everybody associates this movie with Halloween. Everybody watches it around Halloween. And the thing about a movie like this is the only character you have to have return is you can do whatever you want with this sequel. Just more anthology stories. The only thing you have to include is Sam. That's it. So why they haven't done it, God only knows. I know part of it is Michael Dougherty wants to do it, and he's definitely been doing other projects. He's made a name for himself, but he says he has a passion for it and he wants to do it. So I want to see it because, you know, the life that this movie took on after it came out on home video and everything like that, it just grew and grew and grew to the point now where it's just like, it's insane. Everybody knows Trick or Treat. Everybody knows Sam. Do the right thing, Legendary, and make a freaking sequel already.
Well, I have to agree with you. I pulled Trick or Treat myself. Let's see. Yes, I mean, here's the thing about this. You know, first of all, I remember when this was supposed to come out in 2007. Hey, Ben. I remember when this was supposed to come out in 2007. I remember they promoted this to go to theaters, and we never got it in theaters. And it came out in 2009 on physical media, and people loved it. I mean, it was huge. And it's become one of those October staples for a lot of people. It's one of my go-tos in October. It's one of my favorite horror movies. And they can really do a lot with a second movie. I mean, this is a great anthology franchise. And yeah, I would love to see a sequel to this. Keep the Sam character going, add some new stories. I mean, the stories in here were so good. And for me, at least, when I first saw this one definitely surprised me with the stories. A lot of good twists and turns, great Halloween atmosphere. Yeah, I would definitely love to see another Trick or Treat movie.
Yeah, and Ben, real quick to your comment, I own the sequel. The sequel
cool.
comic, yeah. It's called Days of the Dead. I have read it. It is super cool, but it's just another example of, it just goes to show how easy it would be to make a film sequel because it's an anthology series. So you can just give me 4 more stories of new characters, new story, whatever it is. So it'd be so easy to make a sequel to it. I don't know why we don't have it yet. I really don't.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you said, Michael Dougherty, he's busy with absolutely love this movie. I think it's because it did do well. Yeah, I mean, I think it did well as far as physical media goes. I don't think it went to
it was totally Warner Brothers' fault that they didn't give it the opportunity and to put it out in theaters nationwide. They didn't make it a nationwide release. So if they are worried about that, well, that's their fault because they didn't give it a wide release. I mean,
yeah,
you saw the life it took on, like you said, in physical media, home video. It took on a life of its own. So,
And over the years, I mean, more and more people are seeing it. Let's see. I usually end my marathon with Trick or Treat. Yeah, I usually watch it either the beginning of October, kicking the month off, or Halloween Eve.
So I watch it Halloween night, but I watch it at the beginning of October and then Halloween night. But I always end Halloween night with John Carpenter's Halloween. It's always the last movie I watch on that night. Yeah,
it's a must. I mean, look at that man right behind you, that Michael Myers mask. So there you go. Got it. Yep. And look right there. I mean,
yeah, I know. I was gonna say you got the poster up behind you. So,
but I was gonna say real quick, and I didn't put it on this list, but like speaking of Michael Dougherty, I mean, I could even do another Krampus if they wanted to do another Krampus movie. So,
yes, Krampus was fantastic. I loved Krampus.
I mean, you can explore. That's a great thing about Trick or Treat and Krampus. You can explore more stories with these characters. So, yeah, love it.
All right, Justin, what's your next pick?
All right, so this is, let's see, 40 years later. We still haven't got a sequel. I think a modern sequel taking place during the same timeline as this movie would be great. New characters, same like small town feel. My Bloody Valentine.
I knew you were going to pick that one.
I was going through my list. I said this is one that definitely would deserve a sequel. I mean, they could do a great sequel with this and make it kind of in this case, a revenge story. Because if you guys have seen the ending of the movie, the killer's revealed, which I don't want to give too much away if you've never seen it, but they could do a great revenge story. Have the young characters that survived at the end of this movie come back as adults, have their kids, or have a group of new young youths in this movie, and they could do a great sequel to this. And it's a shame that doesn't want to do a sequel to My Bloody. He wants to do a sequel. Now there's rumors now that we could get a sequel, but it kind of just depends on the studio, like whoever has this. I think it's Paramount. Paramount owns this. It kind of just depends on them. Like if it's Paramount or any other company. I mean, if Amazon if Amazon were to get the rights to this, I mean, they could do it. I don't know who has the rights now, but I would love a sequel. To have it take place 41, 42 years later, and I think they could pull it off. I mean, they just did The Town That Dreaded Sundown. That was more of a reboot, but they did a new version of The Town That Dreaded Sundown. I mean, we could possibly see My Bloody Valentine make a comeback. I know they're doing a fan-made movie right now, but I would love to see a theatrical My Bloody Valentine sequel. And this was a hit, I believe. So I'm surprised they never took off with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But it seems like nowadays too, that what you get is remakes and reboots and not direct sequels, which is kind of unfortunate because I feel like, a lot of these classic stories really could use, of course they could use an injection of, updating. They could use updating, but that doesn't mean it has to be a remake. You can make a sequel, just if it's 30, 40 years later, well, it's by default going to be, reinvigorating. So I digress on that, but I agree. I mean, I liked the first one. I found myself having fun with the remake too. I didn't hate the remake. So I think it's a story that it definitely could be explored further. I don't know the reason why it hasn't been. Maybe because it's not one of those franchises like with Michael or Freddie or Jason or something that could really draw, that maybe they're worried it wouldn't draw an audience, but I feel like there's enough hardcore classic horror fans that would go see that would make it worthwhile.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it would be awesome. I totally agree. Paramount does own the rights. Somebody said something about Krampus.
Yes, Crying said something about Krampus too.
And he made a good point. We didn't really get to see Krampus in the last one, so I mean, they could do a sequel. But yeah, Paramount owns the rights.
No, Ben, he's talking about a sequel to the original. Yeah, right?
Yeah, well, I'm going to tie in just a second. And
Okay.
So, but no, I'm talking about a sequel to the original, though. Like, that would be cool. That would be cool.
All right, so my next one is one that, God, I hadn't watched it in years, and this movie was like a super sneaky good movie when it came out, and I don't know why. Now, some of these aren't necessarily like, I should clarify by saying some of these are like, maybe we get a prequel, or maybe we get a reboot, but we need a continuation of these movies.
Yeah.
We need more. That's basically what this topic is, and that movie is The Cabin in the Woods.
Ooh, I almost picked it.
I mean, just a blast. The movie is so fun. And when I was grabbing the movies right before Brooke went to work, she was in here watching me grab movies, and she saw me grab this one, and she's like, well, why'd you grab Cabin in the Woods? And I was like, I have reasons for it. She's like, well, what are your reasons? You can't just grab a movie if you don't have reasons for wanting a sequel. I was like, okay, smart mouth. Well, here are my reasons for wanting more Cabin in the Woods. I want to know some of the origins of these gods that we have to appease. I'd love to see some of the, more of the sacrificial offerings throughout the years. I'd love to see what actually happened from the moment at the end of that movie. Like, did they just destroy the freaking planet? Like, we have no idea. So, for me, I would absolutely love to see a continuation of this movie, whether it be sequel, prequel, I don't care. I thought it was super smartly written. I think it's funny, it's well acted, and the gore is just, the gore is top notch. I love the kills in this movie. So yeah, Cabin in the Woods, that comes in on my list.
Well, I will say this. I just thought about this too, because I almost pulled that, and I was like, is that technically, can I pull it? Because I know they end with the world ending pretty much. But you talking about it just now made me think, if they didn't do a prequel, they could do a sequel where it all takes place in the same universe, and like say like you have, because you remember in the movie, and I don't want to spoil too much if people haven't seen it, but it's 10 years old, so there's going to be a little spoilers. In the movie, you are having different things going on at the same time, so you're having different situations happen, different scenarios. So you could possibly do a sequel where the events of the first movie are taking place, but that sequel has another certain events taking place. So it's kind of the same universe.
With a movie like Cabin in the Woods, there's just so many avenues that you could go down to continue that mythology and that story. And I thought it was a gold mine. I mean, you just when you get into the second half of the movie, when you get into like all the creatures they have like locked up in these cells and in these boxes that they can just release, like there are so many ways you could go with that. There are so many cool kills to be had, so many interesting stories. Like the fact that we haven't gotten one, and I don't know how this did commercially and critically, guys. I haven't looked it up in a while. So if somebody watching wants to pull up a tab and see how it did, maybe it underperformed and that's why. I don't know. But that's definitely, it's, for me, that's just, I love the movie. I'd love to see more. Marcus said the unicorn kill is the best. I like the merman. I really like the merman.
That's a good one too. Mm-hmm. I like the idea that like before we had the Evil Dead reboot, they recaptured the Evil Dead cabin in the movie. Like little things like that I love. Now looking at it, now you with you talking about it, I could definitely see them doing a sequel and having it take place in the same universe but in a different place. So they could do it.
Hello, Whitney. I went to school with Whitney. So how are you? How have you been? And I totally agree. I would love to see a continuation of The Witch. That's another movie that I really enjoy.
That's a good idea. I didn't even think about that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I actually, but I don't know if Eggers would ever do it. I really don't know if he doesn't seem like a type of guy that would go back and do sequels,
Do
but
sequels.
I love The Witch. That movie,
I
I
did
loved
too.
it.
I love The Witch. Yeah, I loved it.
All right, Justin.
All right, so I just talked about the original, so I'm just going to throw this out here. My Bloody Valentine 3D. So I know I'm pretty much repeating a little bit, but I saw this in theaters. I loved it. It was probably my favorite 3D experience because it was the first 3D experience I had in a movie. But the way they end the movie, I was like, they could totally pull off a sequel to this. I love the fact that they took the idea of My Bloody Valentine but did their own thing in some ways. They threw a little bit of twists and turns there. But yeah, just the way that they end the movie, I was always surprised that we never got a sequel to this one. I mean, I realized like when this one came out, this was almost 30 years old maybe. So we had not got a sequel to this for a long time, but like when this came out, this was 2009. I thought we were going to get one. I don't know if it did well box office wise. I still think they should have released this movie in February.
Crying just brought up the specs for Cabin in the Woods. Crying, if you could go ahead and pull up the specs for My Bloody Valentine 3D and tell us what the budget was and what the box office was. You don't mind.
But either way, I would love a sequel to this. I don't know what the budget was. I don't know how much it made. I think they should have released this movie in February. They released it in January and released Friday the 13th in February. This probably would have done better in February if they would have done it. But no, I love this movie. I think it's great. And the way that they ended, they could again do another revenge story and have some other events happen. So yeah, I love My Bloody Valentine 3D. Are you a fan of that one?
So yes, for the most part, yes, I do enjoy it. I do not dislike that reboot. I think that the thing about it for me, I love the kills in that movie. But I haven't watched it in years. I do own it. I'm looking at it on my shelf right now. I don't know why I didn't think about grabbing it, but I enjoyed the movie. I thought it's just really fun. Like I have a good time when I watch it. And there's a nice twist and if you've seen the original though, you kind of know what's coming. But I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. And Pentagramma says, yes, Gremlins does need another sequel. Absolutely.
I agree with that.
Bill asks about Devil from 2010.
I almost pulled that. Yes. Devil's a good one. Devil was supposed to be a new kind of like anthology in some way. Like it was going to be under M. Night Shyamalan's kind of chronicle series, and each year or I don't know how they were going to do it, but they were going to do different movies that he was going to produce, and it never took off. I saw that in theaters. I don't think it did well, but I love it.
Okay, so Crying says 14 million budget and 100 million. Okay, so it made a ton of money. I don't know why they didn't continue it.
I never
Basically,
know.
guys, the rule of thumb with the movie is if you want to turn a profit, more often than not, you have to make about 2.5 times your budget, because you have a reported budget, which is what you see, the 14 million. Yeah. But then you also have about 1 to 1.5 times that when you factor in marketing, when you factor in paying everybody. So you want to make about 2 to 2.5 times your budget. So My Bloody Valentine, in that case, say that they needed to make, I don't know, 35 million and make a profit. Well, they made a $65 million profit on that movie. That movie was super profitable.
Yes.
I think the real problem with it, honestly, is a lot of these companies love to make a reboot or a remake to an old property. They make a ton of money, and then they have no idea how to continue the story after that. Case in point, Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. It did not get well reviewed, but it made over $100 million. It made a ton of money, but they didn't make a sequel. Why? Because they don't know what to do. They just wanted to remake the property. And then after they've remade it, they're like, well, what do we do now? So I think that's a big problem with it. But Ben Grimm wants it.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, that would have been great. They kind of end it to where you might think that they do a sequel. Final Girls, if you've never seen, I don't know, have you seen that one, Nick?
Yeah, it's been a long time, but
Oh,
yeah,
I love it. That would be a
yeah.
good one.
Oh yeah. That is a good point, Sarah, because maybe he didn't want to. You know what I mean? Maybe they couldn't get him back because not
That's true.
just that he was doing Supernatural, but maybe he didn't want to. Um,
That's true.
and Crying says, "Yeah, surprised you never got a sequel with that profit." I know. I mean,
I
it
know.
makes no sense. Like if Hollywood's game is make movies to make money. Well, once you make money, you'd think you'd keep making movies, right? But the problem is there's just such a lack of original ideas nowadays that they want to remake a property, but then they're like, okay, what the hell do we do next? And they have no idea. So
Yeah.
they just remake it, and then 10 years later, they remake it again. I mean, we're
Yeah.
just in that cycle right now, and it's
We
really
are.
frustrating. But, all right, my next pick is going to be, now, I grabbed the second one, which is very loosely a sequel, but I wanted to just talk about the series as a whole. It's kind of horror. It's more sci-fi, horror, thriller, whatever you want to call it, but it scares some people. And that's 10 Cloverfield Lane is what I grabbed.
Yes.
But I would absolutely love, I'm still waiting for that direct sequel to Cloverfield. I'm still waiting for that. And I don't know why. I mean, the movie made a ton of money. Then 10 Cloverfield Lane made a ton of money. And then they jerked us around with the Cloverfield Paradox, the one that came out on Netflix, which had a few cool moments, but I just didn't care for it. And I want to see a sequel. I want to see a true sequel to Cloverfield. So this one at the very end ties it in because, you know, they wanted to add that nod. It's its own movie for about 90% of it. You've seen it, so you know.
Yeah.
But I just absolutely would love to see a true sequel to Cloverfield. J.J. Abrams keeps saying that Bad Robot's going to do it. I'm still waiting for it, though. You can't keep telling me you're going to do it and not do it. So Cloverfield is one I want to see a true sequel to.
You know what? First of all, I think they're actually developing a sequel to it. So
yeah,
they're doing something.
Been the talks, so
it's in the talks. They're doing something. I don't know if it's going to happen, but the rumors are happening. I would love to see that too. I mean, I really love 10 Cloverfield Lane. I think it's a great movie. I think it's a great follow-up. And I love how, like, again, like you have the same timeline but different scenarios going on. I think that's great. But I agree with you. I would love to see a sequel to Cloverfield because that movie surprised me at how much I loved it. I haven't seen Cloverfield Paradox yet. I own it. I just haven't watched that one yet. So
it's got a few cool moments, like where you see the clove creature, I think like twice. I can't remember exactly. It's just quick like shots. And they had some interesting ideas, but they really did not know how to execute it properly, and it just didn't come across very well. That's why I think it dropped on Netflix with like no promotion at all. Because they had no idea what they were doing really. So, but I digress on that topic. Justin, what's your next one?
All right, so I just thought about this, and I was like, well, it's not like the movie needs a sequel because it's perfect as a standalone movie. But again, kind of like the original My Bloody Valentine, if you wanted to do a sequel, it would be interesting. Have it in modern time. The way that they end this movie, of course, these spiritual beings or ghosts are still around. And this might shock people, might surprise people. The Fog.
Oh my God, I almost grabbed it.
Did you?
Yes.
Yes.
And then I was like, I don't want people to think that's sacrilegious, so I'm not going to grab it. So thank you for grabbing it.
I just pulled it right away because I was like, I gotta mention this because I had this in my head today when I was trying to pick movies out and thinking what movies could use a sequel. I mean, this is a perfect standalone movie. The Fog is a classic. It's one of my favorite Carpenter movies. But if they wanted to do a unique sequel, something that we haven't seen a lot of, they could do a Fog sequel. I mean, the way that they end this movie, these ghosts are still out there, and you can have a modern day sequel take place on this island, have different characters, and have these spirits come back. I mean, they can pull off a great sequel if they wanted to. Now, it's a great standalone movie. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I mean, I would love to see kind of a different scenario happen. But Yeah, I would love a sequel to this. I would watch it. I would watch it. I'm glad you almost picked it though, because I was like, I hope I'm not the only one.
Yes, yes, I almost did.
That's
Monster Squad.
awesome. Two awesome minds think alike, Nick.
Mm-hmm. Ben Grimm says that he'd like to see a sequel to Monster Squad.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
I love Monster Squad.
Sarah agrees.
I love Monster Squad. I mean, they could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with The Fog, I would love to see that. I really was so bummed out about that remake. I mean, I really did not like it at all. And I'd love to see Return to the World of Antonio Bay. But give me, the classic feel of it, like the first one. I just didn't care for the remake. But
let's see. I almost picked that one, Bill. I almost picked it.
Oh, and that actually is a movie that you still hear rumors to this day every now and then about a sequel. You still hear rumors.
So, fun fact, when I used to write screenplays, I did write a sequel to Stay Alive 2.
Oh.
So I still have a notebook with all written down. And it was, my idea was that game was going to, because the way it ends, if I remember, it's been a few years since I've seen it. The game is now out there for people to play. Yep. Like they close it that way. And my idea was going to be, this game is now out there, and I would love to have explored maybe the past of this supernatural being that was in the game. Like, what was the history behind the making of the game? I would have loved to have that would have been really cool. So I wrote a sequel.
My mom loved The Fog. I've never thought about a sequel to it. Yeah, it is such a strong standalone movie. You wouldn't need one, but like these are a lot. Like I said, some of these are just ones that we really, really just would want. Just because we're gluttons for this. Like I'd love to see more of these characters.
I would love to see it, and I think they can pull that off. I mean, they could pull off a Fog sequel if they wanted to. I mean, we can have returning characters if we wanted. We can have new characters, and it can all take place on that island. And like you said, have that feel that the first movie had. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know. I have no problems with CGI. Like if it's done well, it's done well. But have practical and CGI mixed together where it's great. And I would love to see a sequel.
Sarah wants to see a sequel to From Beyond.
They could pull that off too.
Mm-hmm. And then Bill says he's intrigued and he'd love to hear about that screenplay.
Yeah, I wrote it 15 years ago. I do have like a notebook written of like it was going to be a sequel, but it was going to be the backstory of how that game was created and who created the game. So yeah, I love Stay Alive. Night of the Creeps. They could do, and I almost pulled that too. They could do a sequel to that.
All right, guys. So my next pick is going to be one that is definitely polarizing. I put it in this genre just because it's a zombie film. It's definitely not a horror movie in my opinion, but I really enjoyed it. They talked about a sequel forever. They literally had the sequel ready to go, and they were going to start filming in like a month, and it all got shut down. And that movie is World War Z. I loved World War Z. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, there's two camps of people. They want the classic zombies or they want the smart running, zombies. And this is that. They're smart. They're resourceful. They run. They're strong. They're fast. There are a lot of things. And I enjoy that because I think that makes them scarier. That you can't just run away from them and then you're fine. Like, no, these things can run after you. They can jump high. They can, there's just a bunch about it that I really liked. I liked Brad Pitt in the role. And I just really, really enjoyed the movie. And it's such a bummer because who is it? It's Paramount. Yeah. So I believe it was 2019. I think they had a deal done with Brad Pitt, with everyone. It was like a month away from the shooting date. Maybe it was even closer than a month. And then, nope, done. They pulled the plug on it. We didn't get reasons why. They just pulled the plug and said no. And still to this day, I don't think we've gotten a backstory on why. But it was about to be a reality. And, it is what it is. It's a bummer because I absolutely love the movie. I love the movie. But this is a movie that I think needs a sequel because there was so much set up in this movie, so much left unanswered that we can see how do they get out of this? Like, how does the world recover? And what do these zombies evolve and adapt as we as humans do? Like, there was so much, and shame on Paramount. Shame on Paramount. That's all I'm going to say to that. But yeah.
I mean, and I personally, I have not seen the whole thing, so I need to go watch that. But I'm surprised that they pulled that because that was a hit. Wasn't that that was a big hit for them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it cost a lot to make, but it made more than 2 times its budget back. So it made money. I think the thing was they expected it to do even better. So they were like trepidatious about it for years. Well, do we do a sequel? Is it going to make less than this one? And then are we going to be in danger of not making our money back? Like, just dumb. Just really dumb. I don't know. I love the movie, though. Thank you, Bill. Yes, there's a place for all zombies. Sarah loves World War Z, and fast zombies are scary. I agree. I mean, it's one thing if they're just dragging their ankles at you saying brains. It's another thing if they're hauling ass behind you running faster than you. That's pretty scary. And then Crying mentioned House of Wax getting a sequel. I almost pulled that one too.
I almost picked it. I was like, how could they? I was like, they could, because at the end of the movie, they have that one brother. So they could have done a sequel.
But yeah, Justin, you need to finish World War Z. I'd love to hear your opinions on it. I really do, because World War Z, I enjoy that. And, my buddy. Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, buddy?
Nice to see you in here. Love the live streams you guys are doing. I think a sequel to World War Z would be interesting. Yes. I'm glad that everybody in the chat is agreeing with this, because I thought I was going to get just chastised for that pick. I thought people were going to be like, what? No. So I'm glad you guys agree. Everybody, beat the drum. Tell Justin to go finish the.
I'm gonna watch it. I will watch it. I definitely. David Fincher was hired to direct it. Like, they had a name behind the movie, and they just Paramount. Paramount, what are you thinking?
Yep. But all right, go ahead, Justin. What's your next one?
All right. So I'm gonna go with mixing it up a little bit. Now, I don't think they're ever gonna do this sequel, but I love the first movie. I know Wes Craven wanted to make this character a villain into a franchise. Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
I love Shocker. I love
that's
this.
What you're gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, I love this movie so much. I love the music. I love the villain's a great villain. I mean, he's ruthless and evil, but it would have been a great franchise. I don't think the movie did well, though, and I don't think that's why they never went forward with more sequels to this film. But I believe the character Horrence Pinker, I mean, great villain. I love this so much. I keep saying that, but I do. I got a great cast here. You got a great premise for a movie, and it would have been interesting to see where sequels would have went if this one would have done better, and Wes Craven would have been able to make a sequel. So, I mean, shocker. I love that. I mean, the one thing you're going to remember the most is the thank you, Brody. The one thing you're going to remember the most about that movie is the soundtrack, but the character's great too.
Oh, yeah. And then Sarah, I can never go wrong with Shocker.
I love it.
Man, what's up, Dylan?
What's up, Dylan?
I was waiting on you. I was like, where's Dylan at? Now I'm just waiting on Isaiah. All of our normal people are in here. I have not seen Isaiah. So,
true.
And then Crying says, I've never heard of Shocker. I like the cover out there. Looks cool. Yes.
Yeah, you need to check this out. Wes Craven, in my opinion, a Wes Craven cult classic. But yeah, Shocker. It's great. I mean, what was another Wes Craven one I was thinking of? I mean, if they wanted to do it, I didn't bring it. I almost pulled it. My Soul to Take would have been a great one.
Yeah. I mean, all right. Cool. So I told you guys earlier near the top of this, when Justin mentioned Child's Play 2019, there was going to be another MGM movie that has been talked about that I'm going to mention that I know a lot of people want a sequel to. And it's been talked about before, and they actually almost were about to do a sequel, but they didn't want to do it with the budget that they were given. So it went in development hell again. Well, now that Amazon owns the rights, people are starting to talk about it. That movie, to surprise no one, I know you're going to agree with this, Justin. Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes.
Yes. Look, if you've seen the movie, and I just recently watched it, because you guys, if you saw my Blu-ray haul video about a month ago, I picked it up. And I had not, if I had seen it, it had been so long I couldn't remember it. And I watched it. I mean, it's such a blast. The movie's so fun. And you're just, the potential there for these characters and the stories and the directions that it can go. You know, I would love to see a modern adaptation, because with money behind it, because I think with good effects, you know, keep some practical effects, but with some money behind it, I think a Killer Klowns from Outer Space sequel would be I think it would be a home run. I mean, I really do. And especially if you marketed it a little bit more, like market it scary, because people find clowns scary. I mean, look no further than It and It Chapter 2. Those movies made a killing. And they made a killing, yes, because it's a Stephen King property, but because clowns, people hate clowns and they scare people. So yes, Killer Klowns from Outer Space. I would love to see a modern adaptation of it, whether it's a reboot, whether it's a sequel. I don't care. I prefer it to be a sequel, but yes, let's get Amazon to do it already.
I agree. I think they can do it. I mean, and I didn't actually know that like they were in talks of doing a sequel. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple years ago, for anybody that doesn't know this, a couple years ago, the Sci-Fi Channel had made a pitch, I believe, to the original director, or is it directors? Was it to, yeah, the Chiodo brothers, yeah. And they had made hey, we want to do a sequel. We're ready to finance it. Well, and they said, okay, cool. It was going to be a Sci-Fi Channel movie, but it was going to be a sequel.
Yeah.
Well, Sci-Fi came back and said, here's the budget. It was $2 million. And the Chiodo brothers were like, no, we can't make a movie that looks good with $2 million. Not with this type of source material. We need more money than that. So they said no. And that was the last we'd heard of a potential sequel to the movie.
Wow. I think that would, I with Sci-Fi releasing like Critters and Leprechaun and all the latest ones, you know, I think Killer Klowns would have done really well.
Yeah, I think it's just, it would, I mean, it's the Sci-Fi Channel penny pinching. Like, let's be honest. They're like, oh, well, this is an old movie. You know, we don't know if people would watch it, so we don't want to put a lot of money behind it. I don't agree with that sentiment, because, hello, Halloween 2019, like, or 2018, come on. Like, just because it's a sequel to an old movie does not mean it won't make money. If you make it right and market it well, you can make money. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm glad they didn't take that offer, because $2 million as a budget for a Killer Klowns from Outer Space movie in modern day, I don't know if you could make that look good. So
I was going to say, I mean, I'm not dissing Slumber Party Massacre because I love it, but if Sci-Fi is going to do a Slumber Party Massacre sequel or reboot or remake, because they're doing that, they could have done a Killer Klowns. But like you said, I'm glad Amazon has it, so there's potential there.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos has plenty of money, so give us a sequel, Jeff Bezos. But all right, Justin, you're next.
All right, so going back to the 1988, the year I was born, this movie came out. I love this movie. Love this remake. I like the original. I love this movie. But the way that they end this movie, they could do a sequel. If they did it today, they would need to do it right. That's the remake of The Blob.
Yes.
I adore this movie. The way that they end this film, it keeps you guessing, could there be a sequel? I mean, it opens it up to the potential of having this blob being kind of spread out through the world pretty much. And I think a Blob sequel would be great. I think even if they did a modern day sequel, if done right, they could do a Blob sequel to this. I mean, for me, this is just one of my favorite horror movies. Again, great soundtrack, great cast. I love just the practical effects in this movie. But yes, a Blob sequel. If done right, they could do a Blob sequel. I would love it. I mean, that would be great. That would be great.
Yeah. And then Sarah, yes, you can mention sequels that you want sequels to. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I almost grabbed one off the shelf, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and that was Happy Death Day to You. I still want a sequel to that.
Yes.
And then Dylan says, oh man, The Blob is and always will be one of my all-time favorites. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
I love it.
Yeah. plenty of potential for a sequel. So don't know why we haven't gotten it, but you know. All right, so this is one I've talked about a lot. I'm not going to talk too much about it. We've talked about this a lot. You guys already know how I feel about this movie. And I know the next one is actually in production now. And if correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it starts filming in June. So it's done. It's official. It's happening. So we're never probably going to get we're never going to get a continuation to this probably. And that is Evil Dead 2013. It's about time we close the book on it, guys. It's a bummer because I'm super stoked for Evil Dead Rise. I really am, especially because Raimi and Bruce Campbell are producing it and overseeing the project. So I feel like it's going to be made with love, and I think it'll be a good movie because they haven't made an Evil Dead movie yet that I don't like. But it just sounds like we're never going to see Jane Levy back in the role of Mia. So unfortunately, that ship has probably sailed, but I will always, always, always want a sequel to this.
I mean, I'm not going to stay on it too long either, but I totally agree. I mean, I pulled this too. This one has grown on me so much because the first time I saw it in theaters, the hype killed it for me because I went in there hyped. I loved the trailer. But over the years, I love this movie now. I've grown to really love this. Besides that one character in the movie who reads the book when it says, do not read the book. And he's like, I'm going to read the book. Yeah, I know they're doing, like you said, a sequel. They're doing another film in the same universe. But I would love to see Mia come back. I would like to see them do potential, like a potential sequel to this. It would be great. I don't quote me, but I think the actress who plays Mia said in an interview not too long ago that I don't know if she would come back. She said this was a hard movie to make. She loves the film, but she said it was just like, as far as like just how tough it was to make, it was a tough one for her. But I would love to see a sequel to this. If she decided to come back, it would be great. I would just love to see a follow-up to that movie. So,
yep. And then Crying Cherry Falls sequel.
I almost picked it. I almost picked that too. That was something I almost had in my hand. So
Collector Man, Tucker and Dale versus Evil 2.
That was rumored for a while, and that was I mean, people really praised it when it came out, and they never went anywhere with it.
Charlie says the Blob is being remade with Samuel L. Jackson, and it's in development right now.
Interesting. We'll see. I like Samuel L. Jackson, so.
Yeah, Crying. You knew I had to bring up Evil Dead. It was gonna happen.
I had it in my pile too. I mean, that could have been a great one.
Yeah, we talked about Trick or Treat at the top.
We did.
Yeah, that was my first one I picked. That's what the thumbnail is. Like, oh yeah. Trick or Treat
Oh,
will always, in my opinion, need a sequel until it gets a sequel. So, Collector Man, I want a sequel to A Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Bring back Lisa.
And I'm not just saying this. I wrote a sequel with Alice coming back. I have 2 screenplays with the character of Alice and Jake. So I wrote all those. I think we talked about this before. I'm a big Nightmare on Elm Street 4 fan, and I wrote a sequel because I'm such a big fan of Nightmare on Elm Street 4 that I have 2 sequels that I wrote. So they're all in a box somewhere in a notebook.
Well, I'll let you know, Justin. The Wes Craven estate is currently taking pitches for the next Nightmare movie. So, hey, go ahead and send them off. See if you get it.
I don't know. You never know. It would be great.
How you doing, Antonis? How you been?
Hello.
Nice to see you. Let's see. Sarah says a sequel to Beyond Reanimator.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Yep. And then The Collector. Yeah. And that whole story, that saga is crazy. I mean, what? They filmed a couple days and then abandoned it? Like,
yes. Like 3 days. So if I remember, and again, don't quote me, but I think they filmed like 3 days worth of filming. And then pandemic happened. They had to shut down. And then for some reason, the studio now is saying, like, we're just not going to do it anymore. And I'm like, you put your work into this. You announced the sequel. And now you're just like, after 3 days of filming, you're just not going to do it anymore. Like, it's irritating. I hate it.
Yep. Pentagramma, The Fly 3.
That's a great one, too. I almost thought about that.
Crying, no, it did not get a sequel.
No, but that would be.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be.
All right, Justin. What's your next pick?
All right, so I'm going to go with, speaking of Amazon, they released this one, and if you've seen the film, they do mention two other sisters, and that is Suspiria, the remake.
Ooh.
Have you seen this?
No, I haven't, and it's not because I haven't wanted to. I've been worried because I like the Argento one so much that I worried that I wasn't going to like that one, but I've heard good things, so it's just me taking the time to finally just do it, but I have not watched it yet.
I love Argento's movie. That's in my top 15 favorite horror movies of all time. Suspiria, when I saw this one, it surprised me how much I loved it. It takes some of the names from some character names from Argento's movie, but does its own thing, and I love it. And in the movie, and the way that the end credit scene, I believe it's an end credit scene, they make you that they leave it off for sequels to happen, because Dario Argento kind of did the same thing. He had two other movies within a Three Mothers trilogy, and so I know Luca Guadagnino, hopefully I'm saying his name right. He has the idea. I think he wants to do a sequel. I don't know if they're going to do it, but it would be great to see where, again, this timeline goes, like what the sequels would be like and what the two other mothers would be like. But yeah, Suspiria, I love this remake. This is another perfect example of a remake where you take the idea, but you do your own thing. And yeah, I love Suspiria.
Yeah, I need to get around to watching it. Pentagramma. Yeah, Beetlejuice 2 is something that's eventually going to happen. It's just inevitable, but the only question is it going to be a sequel or are they going to remake it? That's the only question. Me personally, I think you need to do a sequel and you need to do it soon because Michael Keaton ain't getting any younger.
Right.
So a lot of people have been clamoring for it for years. So I don't know why it hasn't happened yet. But yeah, that's a movie that I definitely would love to see a sequel to as well.
Yeah.
Collector Man wants to see Troll 3.
I haven't seen them in a long time, but I was like, that could be something. I almost thought, well, we could do a sequel.
And then Crying wouldn't mind to see a sequel to Final Exam.
I like Final Exam. Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
So the last one that I grabbed, I have a couple written down, but the last one that I grabbed was one also we've talked about before, guys, on the channel. And that is just whether it's a sequel or a prequel. I want to see a continuation to know more about what it is. And that is It Follows. And David Robert Mitchell said he had an idea, like I think he even had a story treatment for a continuation called Follow It, where they kind of find out the origins of what it is and why it is. This was a sneaky movie that came out of nowhere, and a lot of people really loved it. And I'm glad they did because I love the movie as well. But like I said, you guys know how I feel about it. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I would just love to see a continuation of this, whether it's a sequel or a prequel. I just think there's so much potential there. So It Follows for me comes in on the list.
I love It Follows, and I think we talked about it before too. I don't think the director's done anything since It Follows, so it would be a great return for the director, and they could do a sequel to it.
Yep. But all right, Justin, go ahead. Give me another one.
All right, so I love this little fun slasher movie from 2018, I believe. Hellfest.
Okay.
Have you seen this one?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
I
love it.
I enjoy it.
I love this. I think it's I love the idea of a horror movie amusement park. I think that's great. And the way that they kind of end this movie, they can do more sequels. The killer can go to several different amusement parks, and they can play off of this really well. I'm a big fan of this movie. I saw it in theaters. I went into it not really knowing too much about it and loved it. So yeah, the way they end this movie, yes, I would love a sequel to this movie. I just love fun slasher movies, so that would be cool.
Yeah. Collector Man mentions that Hocus Pocus 2 is actually I'm looking
forward to it.
I am too. I love the charm of Hocus Pocus, but I definitely think it needed a modern adaptation. So I'm excited for that.
Yes.
Hopefully that goes well. Sarah mentions that the way it follows ended, it, should have had a sequel. Yeah, I agree.
Agree.
And then Crying, you haven't seen it since its release. Yeah, you definitely need to rewatch it. It's super
That's a
fun.
great.
I watched it, I think about 2 weeks ago. I showed it to Brooke, and well, she had already seen it. She fell asleep. She said she doesn't really care for it. I love It Follows. I mean,
Yeah.
And then Antonis, I've never finished Hellfest, but I love it. Yeah, it's
Oh,
fun, man. It's
I love
fun.
Hellfest. Love it.
Collector Man, look, Hellfest is good. It surprised me. Yeah, hey, you won't get any argument from Justin and I. We both really like that movie. I think a lot of people, there was some complaints about it. People thought it wasn't gory enough. It wasn't, I don't like, my favorite horror movie of all time is Halloween. You don't have to give me buckets of blood for me to enjoy it. But
I think if the story's interesting enough and you can like get hooked with the characters, I'm down with it.
And then you guys mentioned so many films I haven't seen. Yeah, get your notepad out and write them down. I mean,
yes.
Imagine how I feel. Every time we do a video, Justin pulls a movie that I haven't seen.
You do too.
Anytime I talk to Christian, he mentions a movie I haven't seen. Like some of these guys, their collections are much bigger than mine. They, there's movies I got to see too. So I have a notepad as well. I promise. I actually, not even kidding. I literally do. So, and I write some of these things down. So, and then Ben Grimm says they could combine Hellfest and Halloween Horror Nights at Universal. Yeah, that'd be cool. But all right. So the next one I want to talk about is one that I owned on DVD. Don't know where the DVD is. Probably still at my mom's. I actually bought the Blu-ray last night. So the Blu-ray will be coming in a few days. A movie I'd love to see a sequel to. Well, guys, I want to know how you guys feel about it. But Jennifer's Body. Yeah. What do you think, Justin?
I almost picked it.
Yeah.
Because the way they end it.
The way it ends, of course. But, I thought that movie was a blast. And I remember when Jennifer's Body came out and people were not about it. It took a while for that movie to catch on. And now people love it and people respect it. And they're like, people are stoked that Megan Fox is coming back into the horror genre. I can't remember what the movie's called that she's doing, but she's coming back. And I think it's awesome because I think she did super well in that movie. And the best part, one of the most interesting parts about Jennifer's Body is that obviously at the time, and she still is, but late 2000s, everybody loved Megan Fox. She was a sex symbol. Like, she's a gorgeous woman. She really is. And so the idea that this demon could use her body to entice people and draw them in and then eat them was like crazy because just look at the potential for that. She could kill anyone. I mean, it was just super smart. I really loved it. I loved Amanda Seyfried, especially because that like she knows that Jennifer is like possessed by a demon, but she almost like still can't help but like love her and want to help her. I think the visuals are great. I think the kills are great. I think the like I said, just the way they utilize Megan Fox and her appearance and everything and how to draw these people in, I thought it was really cool. And I love the ending. It's a movie that I've always wanted to see a sequel to. I know it'll never happen, unfortunately. But Jennifer's Body for me comes in on the list.
I almost pulled that out of my collection. Jennifer's Body. I remember when it came out. I loved it right away, but yeah, it got a lot of hate when it came out, and it did not do well. But now I'm glad that it has a fan base now. Yes, I would love a sequel to that. I would definitely love a sequel. So that would be the one.
All right, Justin, what's another one you got?
All right, so we've talked about this several times. I know you love it. I know Christian loves it. But I was like, you know what? If they wanted to, now they probably will never do this. I had an idea in my head about what they could do with the sequel to this movie. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. So I know we've talked about it several times. I'm so happy now that more people are appreciating this movie and loving it. I've talked about it before. I remember watching the movie for the first time on TV and having recorded it on a blank VHS tape. That's how I had the movie for a while. The way that they end this movie, I mean, they could have potentially done a sequel to it. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there. When it ends, you want to go, what happens next? You just want to know, did the events take place that we thought were going to take place? Like, what happened?
What happened to Chalice? You know,
Right.
what's going on?
I would love to have seen a sequel to this. It would have been great. So I had to pick Halloween 3. I know it's part of the franchise, but like, say if this one did well. Like, say if they did well and they decided to do anthology movies. I mean, they could have done a sequel to this, and I would love to have seen it. I remember talking to Tommy Lee Wallace about it, and I had my idea kind of like what I thought a sequel would have been. And he was like, who are you? He was like, this is awesome. And I'm like, yeah. So it would have been cool.
Guys, I'm telling you, I would love to see that too. It's a bummer that it didn't do well, but at the same time, you know, we got Michael again and everything's okay. But I would love to see a continuation of that because there's a lot of questions left unanswered at the end of that movie. That's for sure.
And you know what? If they never did one, though, it stands on its own as like the Halloween movie that stands out from all the Halloween.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, everybody calls it the Black Sheep. Well, guess what? I love that Black Sheep. So
I do too.
And then Dylan, I'm glad to hear that, man, that you watched Jennifer's Body after my video yesterday.
That's awesome.
I made a video of 10 horror movies that deserve a second chance, and Jennifer's Body made the list. And so I'm glad I inspired you to watch it. That actually inspired me to buy the Blu-ray yesterday. So we were both inspired.
That's a great thing about YouTube and people watching your videos. You know, they can see something that we talk about, like Jennifer's Body, him watching your video, and he's like, I'm going to go watch that movie. So that's a great thing about YouTube. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It is.
All right, so the next movie that I have, this is a deep cut, guys. This is a deep cut. I don't think anyone in this chat. Now, once I say it, you're probably going to be like, oh, yeah, I remember that movie. But I don't think anybody would have thought of this, like, first come to memory. I would love to see a sequel. And, guys, it'll never happen because since the first one came out, all the writer has done is trash the movie, say that he didn't like making it, he didn't like it, he thought it was a bad movie, so it'll never happen. But Dead Silence, I would have loved to see a sequel to that movie because you and I talked about Dead Silence a couple weeks ago and how that's a movie that really gets under your skin. It's very creepy. Mary Shaw, a lot of potential there. She was creepy. The dummies, creepy. The visuals were like, that stuff sticks with you. I mean, just seeing his wife dead at the beginning of the movie, you're like, okay, this movie's going to give me nightmares. Dead Silence had so much potential. I love Donnie Wahlberg in it too. I just think that it's a really, it's an underrated movie. It's not great by any means. But it's so fun and there's a lot of potential there. So I would have loved and would still love, although I know I'll never get it, a sequel to Dead Silence.
I almost pulled that movie. I'm not going to lie. I almost had it because we talked about it before. And I've loved that movie ever since I saw it. And it's crazy it didn't do well. Like, I mean, I look at now and I look at the films like The Conjuring and Insidious and all those movies, and they all do well. I think it was just the time that it came out because we really didn't have too many that I can think of, like a lot of supernatural horror movies. It was a different type of fan base then. I mean, we had a lot of the Saw movies and we had like the Hostel films. So Dead Silence just kind of fell in there. And I would love to see a sequel. I love that movie.
Yes, I enjoy Dead Silence as well. Sarah, Dead Silence is great. Lee Wanell came out years ago and talked about the problem with Dead Silence was they basically gave him a deadline. You have to have this written by this day because we're shooting. So this is what we want. Here's your time frame. Get it done. And he said that movie taught him a lesson to never, ever work with a studio like that again. He said now, oh my Lord, he said now he writes on his own time as a labor of love. He'll never make someone give him deadline. He'll never allow someone to give him a deadline. Nothing like that. He said that Dead Silence was just forced. And he said it turned out to be a very bad movie. I don't think it turned out to be a bad movie. Maybe in his mind, But it's a bummer because we'll never get a sequel to it, obviously.
It might be my favorite James Wan movie. I'm just saying. So Dead Silence
Yeah.
might be. You never know. I don't know.
Yeah, Scream. Yeah, Crying's always got to throw in that Scream 3 love because Crying loves Scream 3.
I mean,
yeah, no, I get you. And then, what's
up,
up?
JT?
How you doing?
How's it going?
All right, Justin, what is your next pick, my friend?
All right, so I just picked this one because I was like, you know what? We had Hatchet, we had Laid to Rest. I know we talked about Laid to Rest. Rest in peace, Robert Hall. We talked about Laid to Rest, and we talked about Hatchet. All these like iconic modern slasher icons that were coming up, new slasher villains. The Hills Run Red. Like I've only seen it probably a few times, and I've grown to appreciate this movie since I watched it last, which was like a month and a half ago. And I'm surprised they never did a sequel to this character. I mean, this character is pretty gruesome on the front. I'm surprised they never did a sequel to this. Like, you know, we had a lot of sequels come. We had a lot of villains kind of born around this time, like Victor Crowley and Chrome Skull and so many others, and they just never did anything with. I think the character Babyface. They never did anything with The Hills Have Eyes. So.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. And we talked about this near the top, guys, is like, it's so frustrating when someone will, like a company will put a movie out there with no idea what to do if it does well. They have no idea how to advance the story. Now, I get it. You don't want to get ahead of yourself, but at the same time, if you got a hit and the fans want more and you just don't do it because you don't know what you're doing, it's just a bummer. I mean, it's really, really a bummer. But JT agrees. Hills Run Red is severely underrated.
Yeah.
Crying, Scream 3 is the best one, in your opinion. But yeah, I'm just messing with you. Hills Run Red is really underrated. Yep. Never seen The Hills Run Red. I may watch it tonight. You should. You should.
It's good. It's a very fun slasher movie. And
yeah, I mean, if you like slasher movies from the 80s, you know, that time frame, you're gonna like it. Like you're gonna like it. And then hello, how you doing? Welcome to the stream.
Dark Castle released this. It was a Dark Castle movie too.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How you doing, David?
Hey, David.
Nice to see
you
guys in here. All right, so the next one that I wrote down that I want to talk about that I think needs a sequel, and I just watched this movie. And by the way, David, before you bring up what I know you're going to bring up, because I know you always bring it up in my videos, I will be talking about the movie that I know you want me to talk about after this movie, okay? I promise. So just wait. I'm going to get this movie out of the way, and then we're going to talk about the next one. But this movie that I think deserves a sequel is The Crazies. I think The Crazies from 2010 was fantastic. I watched it again the other night, and I just the way it ends is like you're teasing a sequel. You're telling us like, okay, initiate containment protocol in another city, and then it's over. It's like, so the same thing's going to happen in another city, which leads you also to believe that it's just going to continue to spread throughout the country and across the world. But I thought Timothy Olyphant was great. I thought that the visuals were awesome. I loved, you know, the military just being like, screw it, let's just nuke this entire town. I was like, what? I love that movie. I know it was a remake, and you know, me personally, I like it better than the original. I
do too.
But I just think that it needs a sequel, and I will die on that hill. I will die on that hill. That is right. Timothy Olyphant, great in that movie. Love that movie. Yes, we did. We talked about Trick or Treat at the top. I'll get some more of these comments in a minute, but yeah, Justin, what do you think? The Crazies sequel?
Crazies. I love it. I saw it when it came out on DVD, and I thought it's still a great movie today. I love this movie. So yeah, I would love to see a sequel. It's a shame we never got that because I think it's great. I think it is a great movie. I love it. Yeah. Great cast, great, just great movie, and better than the original. No disrespect to George A. Romero, I love him, but that was a remake that was better.
Yep. And then, oh yes, Crazy getting a sequel. One of the better remakes out there. Absolutely. You know, bar none. Yeah, Pentagramma, we mentioned House of Wax.
There's potential there.
Sarah, I will tell you this. If you watch the original, do it for, obviously, Romero. It is a classic in its own right. But I will tell you, most people agree the remake is better. And I put the remake in my video yesterday about 10 horror movies that deserve a second chance. And that might have surprised some people because they might have been like, well, you know, not a lot of people think the movie's bad or anything. I meant deserves a second chance in the sense of that movie should have been, I feel like that movie should have been talked about more. I feel like it needs a second life. I think it needs to be brought back up into people's minds because it just came and went and no one talked about it anymore. And I think that it was just a super good remake that doesn't get talked about enough. So
I agree.
That's how I feel. You think Us should get a sequel? I wasn't a big fan of Us. I really liked Get Out, and I would watch a sequel to Get Out. I absolutely would. Us, I felt was a little more generic for me. It wasn't bad. I saw it in theaters. But hey, I mean, Jordan Peele doesn't strike me as the guy that's going to do sequels, though. He keeps moving on to new projects, so probably won't happen. But not a bad movie, you know.
I really enjoy that.
But Justin, what's your next one?
So I have some in mind. I don't have them here with me, but I would say, because I'm a big fan of this fun slasher movie, Sorority Row. If you've seen Sorority Row, it kind of ends with the idea of them doing a sequel, but sadly, since it did not do well as far as the box office goes, I don't think we're ever going to see that. I'm all down for fun slasher movies, and that was just a fun one. So I think part 2, with the way that they end Sorority Row, with part 2, it definitely would have been more of like, again, revenge, and it would have been great. I mean, I would love to have seen it. So that's one of my favorites.
Real quick, Whitney, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but Inside is the movie where the woman is pregnant and it's Christmas Eve and that lady comes in to try to take her baby, right?
That's it.
I loved that movie. I loved that movie. And when I watched it, we watched it 2 years ago when Brooke was pregnant. And she was like terrified. She was like, see, this is real. I'll tell you this. People try to take babies. Like, I'm like, no, I know. And obviously made her even more scared because she was pregnant at the time. But yeah, I love that movie. That's a really good pick. Yeah,
that's a great movie.
Yeah. JT's waiting for a sequel to The Burning. Almost mentioned that myself.
I almost mentioned it too. That's the thing. I almost mentioned it.
Sarah talking about a sequel to Event Horizon.
Yeah,
give me that.
That's a great movie. Good sci-fi horror movie. So yeah. The Burning, though, like I almost mentioned The Burning. Like I almost had it in my hands, and I was like, I might mention this. I didn't know how people would feel about that, but I'm glad there's somebody who mentioned it, and I'm glad you were gonna almost pick it because I almost picked it too. And yeah, that would have been great. That would have been a great one.
How about another? I Know What You Did Last Summer with Julie and Ray returning. I was expecting a return from them, and I'll always know what you did last summer. Yeah, I would totally dig that if it was an actual continuation to the previous movies.
Yeah, I almost picked I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, but I was like, maybe that'd be a different topic for another video where we talk about sequels that need another sequel. I don't know if we were going to do that, but yeah, that would have been great. That would have been. I am
going to mention one sequel that needs a sequel to it. That's the next one I'm going to talk about, but that's the only one I'm going to do on that topic. So yeah, we'll keep that as a whole topic for another video for sure. But
that's something that would be great.
I'd be down for Sorority Row. Brianna Evigan were to return. Yeah,
I think it's an underrated Final Girl, underrated movie.
And then Crying 13 Ghosts sequel.
That could I almost pulled that too. I was like, the way that they end that movie, I was like, could they potentially? And I'm like, they could.
Yeah. So the last one that I pulled that I want to talk about, and David, I told you that I would mention this, and I told you not to mention it yet. A movie that needs a sequel. It is a sequel, so it would be a third movie that we would need, and that would be Strangers Pray at Night. look, The Strangers was a great claustrophobic home invasion thriller. The Strangers Prey at Night was a great just 80s slasher joyride. Both movies tackled totally different, just totally different feelings. I don't know what it was. I'm getting tripped up with my words, but basically what I'm saying is they had two totally different tones. The first one was very secluded and isolated. The second one's a little more open, but it's not as dark. It's just super fun. It's very quick. It's very fast paced. And I love that. So in my opinion, we need to get a third Strangers movie. Maybe we will eventually. I don't think that's off the table. I don't know if it's exactly likely, anytime soon, but it is one that I would love to see personally.
And I'm with you because I almost talked about it too. I love that movie. I love both films. Like you said, I love the fact that they're both different films, different vibes, different atmospheres. I think it's great. And yeah, so how about a Your Next sequel? I almost pulled Your Next to talk about it. And then I thought the only way that they could do a sequel is if they had different characters in a different scenario. But I do love Your Next. I think it's awesome. And yeah, I would be down for a Your Next too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Strangers Prey.
Yeah, so I haven't seen Freaky yet, but I will tell you that Christopher Landon has already openly talked about future plans he has for that world. And he also mentioned that in a perfect world, he's going to have Happy Death Day and Freaky merge timelines at one point. So I'm sure there will be a continuation of some sort with Freaky. So I wouldn't, I haven't seen it yet. I do plan on seeing it. I'm currently in the midst of rewatching all the Friday the 13th movies in preparation for episode 3 of my podcast with Christian. Tonight is the last one I have to revisit. It's Jason Goes to Hell. I'm not excited because I haven't heard great things, but I look forward to it just to get it out there. I will be getting around to Freaky, absolutely, because that's a movie that I really want to see because I love Christopher Landon as a director. I think he's a super talented guy.
Yeah.
Hellbound, anyone say The Prowler? We haven't said The Prowler.
There's ideas. Like, this is a great thing. Like, this could be a topic for another video. Like, bringing back to life movies like The Prowler and making a sequel to that. Like, if they wanted to bring ideas into what like slasher icons or what icons that we can bring back, what movies we can revive, The Prowler would be one. I mean, they could do that. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a huge theatrical movie. Amazon can do it, or some of these streaming services can do it. I mean, this is a great way to revive movies that maybe like audiences who've never seen these movies can then go back and watch the original movies. Kind of like they did with a lot of the remakes from 2000 to 2010. You had a lot of remakes come out, and before the remake would come out, they would release the original films on DVD. It was a great way to promote that. So yeah, I wouldn't mind a Prowler. Sorry if I talk a lot. I'm very passionate about it.
No, you're fine. I talk a bunch too. You don't ever have to apologize. If you want to ramble. Tell me your feelings. Yes, Pray at Night is a gem. I think I like it better than the first one too. I'm not
slightly like it better.
Justin needs to get a shirt saying I almost pulled it too. Yes, he does.
Needs a shirt.
Guys, if we ever start up merch for the live streams, we will have a t-shirt that says I almost pulled it too. I promise, because that is Justin's line.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, it's two great minds think alike.
Well, an ATM sequel. I've never seen ATM.
I watched it once. I need to go back and watch it. I don't remember too much of it, but again, the setting, they could potentially do it. I'm not going to say that. I almost pulled it again. I almost had that in my hands. There we go. Drag Me to Hell. Yes. I love that movie. I saw it in theaters, and it came and went, kind of like with the Crazies. And over the years, I've heard and everybody's got an opinion, but I've heard people just like hate on that movie, and I'm like, I love Drag Me to Hell, and that would have been. There's potential there to do a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, absolutely. The Funhouse '81.
I'm not going to say my line.
Justin almost pulled that too. Look, I agree. I would love to see a modern adaptation of The Funhouse. The Funhouse is a great movie, but even if it were a remake, the one thing I say to people all the time is, guys, if you, whether it's a remake or a sequel or whatever it is, it doesn't take away from the original. If you don't like it or you don't approve of it, that's fine. You still have the original to go back to. But that is definitely a movie I'd like to see a modern take on. Absolutely.
I agree. And I will say I almost pulled it. Yes, I did.
Sarah would like to see a sequel to Would You Rather. That movie was good.
That was a really good movie. Yes, yeah. That was a really good movie.
All right, what's next on your mind, Justin?
So, well, I have one movie, but I'm going to mention this right now. So, I know they did sequels, but all the movies pretty much are their own things, except for part 2 and part 3. I would love a sequel to the original Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis. And here's how they could do it if they wanted to do it. Like, this is an idea that I have in my head. If you've seen Prom Night, you know that... there you go. If you've seen the end of Prom Night, yes, the killer dies. I'm not going to say who the killer is. But they can almost have a copycat killer. Have it take place at the same school. Have almost the same idea, but have it be a copycat killer. And I know Jamie Lee Curtis probably wouldn't come back and do Prom Night, but you never know. Wishful thinking. Mm-hmm. But a Prom Night sequel, I'd be down for it. I love Prom Night. That's one of my favorite movies.
Real quick, Rosie shouting out my old name. Coasters are Beasto 9. Yes. How are you? And yes, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. You guys know I love that movie. And after I say that, now we're going to have 5 people leave the stream. They're going to be like, this guy's dumb. But I love that movie. If we ever do a video of sequels that need a sequel, that's a movie I would have loved to see a continuation for. I would have loved to have a trilogy with Scout Taylor Compton's Laurie Strode. I would love that. So, yeah. And then the copycat killer, like Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. Yeah. I mean, that's a way you could do that with Prom Night. I mean, that's funny too. Is part 5 of Friday the 13th. I know so many people hate on that movie. I actually enjoyed it. You know, you guys, if you guys want to know, I'm not going to spoil a bunch, and I don't mean to ramble. I know Justin had one more movie he wanted to talk about, but I just want to say, since you mentioned Friday the 13th, part 5, when we do our episode of the podcast talking about Friday the 13th, it comes out this weekend. I think I'll be surprised to know that I liked part 5 more than I liked part 7, and more than I liked part 8. And I think that A New Beginning was actually super cool, and I thought it was fun. And whereas I think the end of part 7 was really boring. And Jason Takes Manhattan, I don't know what that ending is. That ending is super weird. But my biggest problem with Takes Manhattan is the MPAA just absolutely destroyed that movie. I mean, they took out all the blood, all the kills. All you saw was aftermath, or you would see him start to kill someone and then it would cut, and then you would just see the body. And it really took away, because Jason is that brute force, brutal killer. And they took a lot of that away in that movie, and it was just a bummer. So,
I mean, I've talked about it. I love part 8, but I agree with you. I mean, now if there's a flaw that I have with it, one of the flaws, it would be that they cut away from the kills. Like, I'm like, Paramount.
It's coming, David. It's coming.
It's coming.
They're making it right now. I don't know if it's already filmed or if it's filming, but I know that it's actively in production. So it's coming. Sarah wants to know if you think they do a sequel to Mandy. I don't think so, because that movie was that's a one-off. That movie's very strange. Now it's found its audience, of course, but I don't think that's a movie that they would even try to make a franchise out of. I did enjoy the movie, though. It's super trippy, though.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen it. I have to watch.
Yeah, look, I'll tell you what. It's about 2.5 hours of absolute insanity.
Oh,
The visuals, the colors. It's very colorful. Nicolas Cage is just absolutely insane, but he plays being insane really well. So yeah. And then Jamie would like to see a sequel to Valentine.
Jamie, you rock because I almost picked it too. Yes, I did. I really did. I'm going to say it again. I almost pulled Valentine. I did, Jamie. High five there because I have always loved that movie. I have my Snapper Case DVD. I have the Blu-ray. I would love a sequel to Valentine. So I'm glad somebody mentioned it.
All right, Justin, what's your final movie you had?
The final movie I have, and I know they just did a fan-made movie, and I know it's on YouTube, so I'm excited to see it. But that would be Black Christmas, the 1974 movie, Black Christmas. I have always, and not everything needs a sequel. Like your mind can think about what happens at the end of a film, but the way that this movie ends, over the years, every time I watch it, I keep thinking, what could have happened when this movie ended? You know, and I'm going to spoil the movie. I mean, a lot of people have seen it. I hate to do spoilers, but I got to talk about it. The way that this movie ends, where you realize that the killer is still alive, and the final girl is in the house with the killer, and the phone rings. I'm like, how did this movie end? Like, I have, every time I watch it, I always think about how this movie ended, where a sequel could have went. So again, I want to see the fan-made movie. I know it's on YouTube, but yeah, Black Christmas. I had to talk about that one. I love that.
Yeah, I agree. And I wanted to mention really quick, guys, Dave McRae and Bruce, they're both really cool dudes. And I haven't watched It's Me, Billy yet. But I have heard really good things about it. It is on YouTube on Dave McRae's channel. So if you guys have a second, some free time tonight, it's 42 minutes long. But everything I've heard about it is that it is super true to the source material and respects the characters. And it's just very well shot, very well acted. So I would check it out. If you guys are a Black Christmas fan, a lot of people say it's a true sequel. Horrorman82 says hello, Ryan 1988.
How are you?
Jamie returned your high five.
Thank you. I'm glad there's another Valentine fan because I love it.
So that's an unpopular opinion, Crying, that you prefer the remake, and not a lot of people like the remake at all. I will say I enjoy the remake.
I love it.
While we're on the topic, really quick, Justin, did you know? So I was trying to find the Blu-ray of the remake. Do you have the Blu-ray of the remake?
I do, yeah.
Okay, how much did you spend? Because I was on Amazon yesterday looking at 2000 Black Xmas as it's labeled, 2006.
Yeah.
$200. $200 for the Blu-ray.
I spent $12.98, $13 pretty much when it came out.
Online?
I got it online. This was 2014 maybe.
Okay, that's probably why. I guess it's out of print now.
It's out of print,
eBay,
yeah.
Amazon, it's $200 plus everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think I just have to settle for the DVD right now and just hope that I run into a copy of the Blu-ray at like an FYE or something. Because
Scream Factory, release a collector's edition. I will take a collector's edition of Scream Factory. But I do love that.
Says the fan film is fantastic and really touches on the express way.
I love that.
Oh, now I got a hello from Hello, how you doing? And wait, whoa, hold up. Yes, we talked about It Follows earlier. Love the Black Christmas remake. Watch it every Christmas. I do too. I think that when it comes to just like atmosphere, it just bleeds Christmas atmosphere. I love that movie. It has its flaws. Don't get me wrong. I could have gone without seeing some of the incest scenes. That was a little much for me, but it's a movie. Whatever.
I saw that movie in theaters with my younger sister and my dad, and I thought my dad is going to pull my sister out of the theater because that stuff came up, and I'm like, okay, we're gone. But I love that movie.
Yep. Canada only has Blu-ray. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, if you go right now, I was texting Christian about it afterward. I said, "Hey, do you have the Blu-ray?" He said, "No, I only have the DVD." And I was like, "Well, I'm sure I know why. You know, could you not find it? Was it hard to find?" I was like, "These are the prices for it." And he went and looked it up. He was like, "Oh my God, yeah, like it's insanely priced." So
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't know why people think that anyone's going to buy it for $250. But you know, it is what it is. David mentioned Scream 5. Yeah, I'm really excited for it too. I think that I would have mentioned, you know, if we were going to do like you know, we need to talk about sequels that deserve a sequel. I would have mentioned Scream 4, but I wouldn't have at the same time because Scream 5 is coming. So I'm super excited for it too. I'd love to see someone like a Matthew Lillard make a return. I think that'd be cool.
I'm gonna say justice for, I mean, Kirby. I would love for Kirby to come
Kirby.
back.
I'd love to see Kirby come back.
I love that. I love Kirby.
I love Randy was never dead in the first place, but and yes, crying about Black Christmas. It's insane. I mean, it's insane. It's out of print on Blu-ray. So the only thing you can buy, the only version you can buy of it is if you buy it back from someone. And these people know that. So they're just overcharging like ridiculous amounts. But
again, I found it for $13, and I remember when it went out of print. I'm like, oh my goodness, like that's crazy.
The Thing. Yes, that is a movie that, if done by the right filmmaker with a good story, I would watch a sequel to that. I enjoyed the 2011 prequel. I did.
Me too.
So I don't know.
I think it was announced that Blumhouse is rumored to be in development of a Thing sequel. So what I would love for them to do is do a sequel to the John Carpenter's Thing. Like have the prequel, have Carpenter's movie, and then have this other film, kind of the aftermath of it. And if they followed, let's see, I was thinking about McCready and his friend in the end. If they decided they wanted to bring back a McCready character, cast his son Wyatt Russell, because he looks exactly like his dad, Kurt Russell. Like that would be really good. But yeah.
David mentions a sequel to 30 Days of Night. That could be interesting. One that is actually a true sequel, because I believe, didn't it get a straight to DVD sequel?
It was okay. They needed true sequel though.
Yeah. And then Crying says, yes, justice for Kirby. On a side note, did you watch those Halloween VHSs, Nick? I think you said you didn't have a VCR. I don't have a VCR, so I haven't watched them yet, but I will let you guys know the other night, what was it, Saturday night, I went on a shopping spree online. I probably shouldn't have. I bought 3 new additions to the Halloween collection, as well as 3 other movies. And one of the additions for the collection, I am so stoked about. I am so stoked to talk about it and show it. I'll tell you guys what it is. Or should I? I don't know. I'll tell Justin off camera.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell Justin off camera.
I got it.
But I'm really excited to show that. And then I also have, I'm going shopping. My mom comes into town this weekend. My little brother's going to be here. And I think I'm going to do like a vlog kind of video at FYE. I'm going to go shopping with my brother. We're going to buy some movies at FYE. It's going to be awesome. Jamie asks about the Vinegar Syndrome sale. Look, I may have ventured on, well, you guys will see. You guys will see. But yeah, I'm really excited. I spent more than I should have. No, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What were you going to say?
No, I was just saying I spent more than I should have. I woke up the next day and I was like, oh. Well,
I was like this. Midnight happened. I'm like, no, I'm buying it. No. And like it just kept going in the cart. That was me. Vinegar Syndrome sale. I'm not going to say what I bought yet, but yeah, midnight Thursday, I was like, okay, let's see what I can get. I'll buy 2 things. And then I wound up like, okay, like my wallet's crying a little bit. I feel bad for it. I'm like, it's okay though. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everything will be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. It's like, you shouldn't do it, but it's like, you know what? I feel like I should treat myself. So I treated myself. Happy Death Day 3, Rosie forced me to go see the first one and second one in theaters. Yep. We talked about it. Happy Death Day.
I love
love.
that second one. So I love that second movie.
Well, thank you so much. I don't know if you're a sub of mine or if you're a sub of Justin's, but whoever you are a sub to, check the other one out because we both make great content, I think. So,
Me too.
you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think Nick is like the awesomeness, though. So it's like,
hey, Justin's the OG here, guys. I look forward to seeing the results of your shopping spree. Yeah, that's going to be an exciting video because, dude, I don't know how you guys feel. Justin, back me up here.
okay.
When you go to a place like FYE and you're off, or Suncoast before Suncoast, shut down, is it just me, or can you spend an hour in there?
Yes, you can.
And as you're grabbing movies, you see another one, and you're like, oh, well, I have X amount of dollars to spend, but I kind of want this one more. So then you put that back and grab the new one, and then you see another one. So, I mean, we went to the mall a couple months ago, and we walked in there, and Brooke was like, she got tired of waiting. She was like, I'm just going to go to another store. And I was like, I'm telling you, I walk into FYE, it's insane. Like, I want so much. But so that'll be an exciting video. I'm excited to go on a shopping spree there. And Justin, when you get your vinegar syndrome movies in, you should do a video.
I am. I'm going to do an unboxing, but I was going to agree with FYE. I could spend an hour in there and just look.
My Chauffeur and Graduation Day. Okay.
Oh, see, I love Graduation Day. That's a great one.
I want Idle Hands too.
I love Idle Hands. Yes.
It says, bye, I am going to FYE. Justin, hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can.
I think your camera froze a little bit. Let's see.
Yeah, you're like chopping in and out for me.
Okay, let's see. Do I have signal anywhere? I don't know. Let's see. Is there a way to like leave and then come back?
Yeah, so. All right, guys, let me go ahead and invite Justin back real quick. Oh.
Do I have to leave? Let's see. Let me try this real quick.
Hold on one sec, guys. Got to get Justin back in here. He's having some technical difficulties. Let's see. Guest. Invite a guest. Copy that shit. Yep. All right. Send it to Justin. La da 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 da. Ignore me, guys. Just keep doing. Oh my lord. What is happening? All right. I'm back. I sent it to Justin, so let's see. Recently bought the second sight, Dawn of the Dead 4K. Oh my god. I'm sure that thing is freaking awesome. That is sexy, yes. I love film unboxing of what. Yes, dude, same. Like, even if okay, Justin's back, guys. Let me add Justin. Justin? I have no idea what the technical difficulties are, but yes, I completely agree. Even if I can't afford it, I'm like, okay, I love to watch you guys open this stuff. And then I buy it when I shouldn't buy it. And it's a mess, okay? Us horror collectors, it's a mess. Devin Sawa actually posted on Twitter asking if people would like to see an Idle Hands too. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would want to see that. So yeah. Crying, I think you're right. I think Justin went to the Ghost Dimension. Poor man got Slaughterhouse from Vinegar Syndrome. Uh-oh. Justin ending up in the Black Lodge from Twin Peaks? Oh, no. Well, okay. Let's try this again. Oh, my Lord.
Like, I am not even seeing.
We can hear you, but we can't. Okay.
Your screen is black. Like, I can't even see you. Let me try this. Sorry, guys.
Are you connected to Wi-Fi, or are you just using data?
I thought I was connected to Wi-Fi. Let me try that. Let me check something.
And then let me see, David and I'm on Elm Street 2, placing Rooney Mara with Katie Cassidy. No, I mean, Katie Cassidy was far better than Rooney Mara in the movie. So, you know, if that was something they were going to do, I wouldn't hate it. Absolutely not. I think that, but I think the ship has sailed on a sequel to the remake of Nightmare, honestly. And I mean, for good reason, you know. It's been a while. It pissed a lot of people off, for better or for worse, you know. But it is what it is. I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but I think the next time we get a Nightmare movie, it's going to be just another remake. Or it's going to be a standalone, you know, not having to do with previous films.
Okay. I don't know what happened there. Can you see me?
Yes.
I don't know what happened. It said my internet went out. I was like, are you kidding me? Sorry.
Justin is back, guys.
I apologize, guys. I apologize about that. I don't know what.
Well, it's okay, man. I mean, it happens. Technology is far from perfect. But yeah, we were talking about unboxings and the Vinegar Syndrome stuff, and you know, everybody's kind of giving their opinions on, telling us what they bought and giving them their opinions on unboxings and how they love to watch people unbox stuff, even if they're broke. I know that feeling all too well sometimes when I know I shouldn't buy something or I can't buy something, and I buy the damn thing anyway. So I totally understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, Crying said that you went to the ghost dimension and then you came back. That's what happened to you.
That's what
and then
happened.
Jamie said that she hopes that you didn't end up in the with the Black Lodge from Twin Peaks. So
yes, I'm glad too. So, or like Jigsaw got me. I don't know.
That's not talking backwards or anything. All is well. Okay. Yeah. I think everything's okay.
I'm good. Yes, all good.
All right, guys. So as we've been doing, what I want to do here to cap this off is we're gonna do a Q&A. You know, just for a few minutes, everybody in the comments, if you have a question, if you have a suggestion for topics for future videos, whatever it may be, go ahead and fire off now. Justin and I are always excited to hear what everybody has to say. You know, I'm eagerly awaiting going to get myself some dinner. I'm excited about that. You know, Mondays have been a blast. I really liked this talk too. I really did. I thought, you know, we had some good conversation here, but guys, don't leave yet because it's not done.
No, I'm back. If I vanished, I'm here.
Yeah. This is the moment where we talk to you guys about what you want us to do, questions you have from us, all that. I mean, we're just two little YouTubers. We're not, you know, this ain't nothing special. Okay, so we're not celebrities.
We love having fun and chatting with you.
Yes. So let me plug my phone in. But yeah, what do you guys have? Fire away. Sarah mentions top 10 favorite horror films. That'll be something we do. Oh yeah, we'll do it. We'll definitely do it. I actually just did that on the podcast with Christian. That was the episode that just dropped yesterday. Was top 10 favorite horror films of all time. I did a video on that like 2 months ago as well. So it's something I love to talk about. So we'll definitely do that.
I have a YouTube video coming where I'm going to talk about that.
Jamie says tomorrow is her birthday. Well, happy birthday, Jamie.
Happy birthday, Jamie.
Okay, we got a question to both you guys. What films are you looking forward to 2021 yet to come out? Go, Justin.
So, well, obviously Halloween Kills. That's a big one. I'm looking forward to Candyman. I cannot wait to see. Talking about sequels, I cannot wait to see Candyman. I am looking forward to that. I think the trailer showed too much. If you've never seen the trailer, don't watch it. But I'm looking forward to that. I cannot wait for that movie. Trying to think what else it's like a real treat for us now. We're getting movies back in theaters. I haven't seen Spiral yet. I'm seeing it this week. I'm looking forward to seeing Quiet Place Part 2. What are some other ones coming out? Like, there's some. I'm trying to
You're
think.
missing a big one that comes out Friday.
Conjuring 3. Yes. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, for me, it's Halloween Kills. It's The Conjuring 3. It's Candyman. And I wish Scream 5 was coming out this year, but it's not, so I have to wait
Yes.
till next year. And this isn't a horror movie, but it's one that I would love to see, that I'm really looking forward to, and that is No Time to Die. Daniel Craig's last James Bond movie. I love the Craig Bond movies.
Me too.
He's my favorite James Bond, so I am really, really excited to see him give the role one last shot before I have to say goodbye. Those are my most anticipated.
I love those. See, I didn't talk about non-horror movies, but No Time to Die, looking forward to it. I'm a big fan. Yes, I did see it. That's another one. Late night, last night in Soho. I am looking forward to that. That trailer was so good.
That trailer was interesting. It was very interesting. So but it did intrigue me. It did intrigue me because Edgar Wright, I really enjoy Edgar Wright. I think he's a really talented dude. So a straight up horror film for him, I'm excited for that. I'm definitely excited.
Looking forward to it. And that's a trailer where they didn't show much. I'm intrigued by it. So
Crying wants to see my Paranormal Activity ranking. Well, how about this, Crying? How about one? Well, I thought you. Oh, well, was it found footage or was it just Paranormal Activity? Maybe next week, Justin and I, our topic is favorite found footage movies.
We could do it.
Maybe we talk about found footage. Because I like being able to do it where we can bounce off of each other and then talk to you guys in the chat. I think that doing rankings sometimes are fun, but it's better when you can communicate back and forth with the people that actually watch your content. Ben Grimm says he's excited for Terrifier 2.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
Michael, hello, wants to know who would win in a fight, Chop Top from Chainsaw 2 or Otis from 1000. Oh, Otis.
You go first. What do you think?
Otis. I think it's Otis. And I think that's because, look, Chop Top's insane. Absolutely. Otis is practically the devil. They couldn't even die at the end of Devil's Rejects, okay? Whatever these people, they're brought to the earth by Satan himself. So I'm telling you, they're relentless. I would say it's probably Otis in my opinion.
I'm gonna go Otis too, and the reason why I say that is like you said. I mean, we've had 3 movies with them like come back, and it's like I thought with Devil's Rejects they were dead, and then they announced 3 from Hell, and I'm like, how are they gonna do this? And I personally love 3 from Hell, but I love Otis. I'm going with Otis. No Time to Die. Very excited.
Crying says, if there's one thing you could change about your favorite horror movie, what would it be and why? So Justin and I's favorite horror movie is Halloween. Justin, what would you change about Halloween if you had to change one thing?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, if I had to change one thing about Halloween. Okay, so if this is not like changing the movie itself, but I guess if I had to change one thing, if I can go back in time, I'd be like, Carpenter, there's a palm tree in the background. There's cigarette smoke. I mean, that. But yeah, I mean, that's tough. I mean, that's a really tough thing to what would I change? I guess, yeah, I mean, I would say that. I would just say like Carpenter, palm tree in the background. Okay. I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah. For me, it would be, by the way, found footage stream would be cool. Awesome. Sarah's looking forward to Black Widow.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Says Otis is badass. Otis is way more evil than Chop Top. He's here to do the devil's work. I am the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's work. That is absolutely correct. For me, you want to be honest. If I'm being honest, it's always been a pet peeve of mine, and I get it. I get why it is because Lori's got to be like, oh, you know, you messing around again, blah blah blah. Like it's supposed to not sound entirely like she's being killed. But I always have hated the noises PJ Souls makes when she's being strangled by the phone cord because it literally sounds like she's just having sex. It doesn't sound like she's dying. And I don't know why, but it just always bothered me because I'm like, no, I would not sound like that if I was being choked. I would not sound like I was enjoying myself. Now, again, I get why it's pertinent to the story because then you have Lori on the other line, like, oh yeah, you're famous, moaning and blah blah blah, like making jokes. But it's just always bothered me. But I almost said like the cigarette smoke and the palm tree, like you did, and it's crazy too because when I went to the filming locations, it's wild. You walk down these streets and you're like, wow, Midwest street. And then in the distance, everywhere, you just see palm trees everywhere. And you've been to filming locations too. So like you pull onto the street and it's like, okay, yeah, this looks like a Midwestern street. And then you're like, oh, but there's some palm trees down there. And there's palm trees down there. And it's crazy too. South Pasadena is like some of these locations, especially where they shot H2O and stuff like that, is right off Hollywood Boulevard. I mean, we went to the H2O locations, the street where Marion and Nurse Marion's house was, and Jimmy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's house. And it's like this cul-de-sac. And then you come off the cul-de-sac and Hollywood Boulevard is right there. And it's just crazy busy. So, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy how they masked a lot of that stuff but yeah, there are some times where you're like, damn it, like Carpenter.
Did you see Rob Zombie's house, the Myers house from Rob Zombie when you were there? It's like right around the corner, it almost feels like. So
Yep, and so are his Doyle and Wallace houses are too. I saw both of them as well. And also I went to the schools. Rob Zombie's Halloween is it's funny. It's a library and a school, and they're across the street from each other. So I believe the school is the school of young Michael when he's a kid. And then right behind, literally right across the street, is Laurie's high school, Haddonfield High School, from Rob Zombie's Halloween. So
it's so cool.
No, we'll get Halloween Kills this year. Don't worry.
We are getting Halloween Kills. That's happening.
What's one slasher? Oh God, one victim. Okay, well, Randy was going to be my damn answer. If I had to say if there was a slasher victim I wish would have survived for sequels, for me. Oh my goodness. I would have loved to see, even though it was just JC Brandy, I didn't want to see Jamie Lloyd die.
I was going to put her. I had a couple of them actually in mind. Kirby. We didn't see Kirby die, so we could have her come back. Mm-hmm. And then Ellie Cornell, Halloween 5. If there was one mistake, well, I know Halloween 5 is not loved by many. You have the same love I do for it. But rewatching it, I'm like, Ellie Cornell dies in the movie, but she dies 20 minutes into the movie. I'm like, come on. Like, she was one of the best in that franchise.
Yep. Favorite found footage film that's not the Blair Witch Project, and what idea for a horror film do you think would work well in a found footage format? So first of all, favorite found footage film aside from Blair Witch, I would have to look at my ranking. I would have to write my ranking out to really get a feel for it. But I would say that As Above, So Below is right up there as number one, and so is Paranormal Activity 3. I would say those and the first Paranormal Activity. Those are some of my favorites. And then a horror film that I think would work well in a found footage format. Believe it or not, some people might think this is crazy. You saw a little bit of it in Curse of Chucky, but I think a Child's Play movie could actually work well in found footage format because you could essentially say that it was a camera on the doll and seeing it from the perspective. Now, I'm not saying I'd ever want to see that. I'm just saying I think that could work. But that's my opinion. What about you, Justin?
So, yes, I'm thinking because we're going to talk about this next week, found footage movies. I would say if two of them, I mean, Paranormal Activity and 3, I agree with you. I love 3 and As Above, So Below. I know a lot of people hated this movie. I really enjoyed. No, I loved Chernobyl Diaries, the movie that came out. I think the same year as Cabin in the Woods. But also, if this counts as a found footage movie, The Fourth Kind. I don't know if it counts, but
yeah. Yeah,
I really love that.
a good portion of it is found footage. So yeah, but that's another good one. That's another good one.
And what idea for a horror movie? I'm thinking about this. So, I mean, I would, if you talked to me years ago, I would have said no to this. But thinking about this might be a good idea if they ever got the ball. If they ever did a Friday the 13th movie, not completely found footage, but well, I don't know. I think a Friday the 13th film might work. New idea, new angle.
You know that they initially had an idea for Friday 2017 before that got canned, before the whole lawsuit thing really picked up between
And they were
Victor
going to
Miller
do
and
that.
Cunningham. Yeah, and you know what it was going to be? Someone
What?
was going to shove the camera into Jason's eyeball, and
Wow.
like that's how, and that's why it was going to be found footage. You're going to be seeing through his eye the entire time. Don't know how I would have felt about that, but Jamie, yes, she was doing a bit too much moaning. Yeah, didn't sound like she was being killed. Another idea is top 10 horror film actors and actresses. Yes.
That's a good
We
one.
won't talk about it yet, but yes.
That's a good one.
Where would you guys like to do filming locations? Oh, this one's simple for me. I would absolutely love. I've seen Nightmare on Elm, the first Nightmare on Elm Street's filming locations. I've seen Jeepers Creepers. I've seen Halloween, Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween, Halloween H2O. For me, it's Salt Lake City, Utah for Halloween 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
I'd love to see all 4 of them, or all 3 of them. And if not that, Lolita, California, which is where they shot Halloween 3. It is in Northern California, so it's like right near the top of California. It was like 9 hours driving distance from LA when I was in LA over the summer. So weren't going there. But that little town is in the middle of nowhere, and it's still like the same. The gas station's still there. Because I saw in my video, I saw a couple Halloween 3 filming locations because they did film some in Southern California.
Yeah.
The opening of the movie was filmed in Southern California, but Lolita is in Northern California. The gas station's still there. The motel is still there. Same architecture too, just painted different. The factory is still there. And I would absolutely love that. But what about you, Justin?
I would love to see the Fog location.
I saw the church. I saw the church
too. That was cool. Halloween 3, like you said, 4, 5, and 6. Yes. I don't know if there's locations for Scream, but yeah, absolutely.
Scream was also shot in Northern California. That's another place I'd like to go. The only Scream film that wasn't shot in Northern California, in California, was Scream 4. Scream 2 and Scream 3 were shot in Southern California and LA. And I actually had some of those written down, but we just didn't have the time to go to them because I dragged Brooke around for all these Halloween filming locations. Scream 4 was filmed in Michigan, but all the other ones were filmed in California. A video talking about movies that don't need a sequel. That's definitely interesting too. But as I said, I am a glutton for more, so I don't know. Like I always love to see a sequel
for me. I can only probably think of a couple of them. Like I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. Let's see. Okay, we got some chat going on. Check out my channel. Jamie. Yeah, I need to sub to your channel. Is your channel name just Jamie Hart? Is that her channel name?
I'll have to sub to her channel. I've seen her on the region free, but no, I don't know if I've subbed
drop your channel name, Jamie, because I see you in here every week, and I is anybody that I haven't subbed to.
I would love to subscribe. Definitely.
Yeah, just let me know. I would
subscribe.
No problem. Anyone and everyone. Let's see where Halloween 6 shot. Yeah, that was Salt Lake City, Utah. I absolutely think that Salt Lake City, Utah would be so cool because you have 4, 5, and 6's filming locations all in the general same area, which I just think would be so cool because you could just see a bunch.
Yes.
And then here's a great found footage film. What is that?
I've never seen that one.
I have not seen that either. Gonjiam Haunted Asylum. I haven't seen that. Then Jamie says her channel name is Jamie Hart. Yes. Well, Justin and I will be subbing to you as soon as this stream is over. So her to get 2 more. Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, what? I always feel bad if I miss someone. Like, please just don't think anything of it. It's honestly that half the time I either think I'm just like I'm already subbed to these people or whatever it might be, or sometimes people put their screen names in here as different than their channel name. So,
Yeah.
and I've done that before where I've searched for someone and I'm like, well, I don't find a channel for this. So, but yeah. And then Jamie says she's just getting started with her own channel. I've been doing YouTube for 3 years. Hey, you know, it takes time but it's fun. Just continue, do what you love to do. Don't care about the numbers. Don't care about monetization. Don't care about any of that. Do what you want to do because it makes you happy. And as long as you do that, it's just a super fun platform to just talk to people, get to know new people. I mean, it's where I met Justin, you know, so it's like, it's just a super fun place. And I think that as long as you're enjoying doing it, that's all that matters. So,
I mean, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's like, just have fun, do what you love to do, enjoy it, because I remember starting back in 2008 and it was a smaller group, smaller community. And like, if you go back and see my first videos, I have different hairstyles, by the way. It's like crazy. But like, some of my favorite videos, we were filming at a college campus, just talking about horror movies. So, and my videos were sometimes out of sync. Like, I just had fun with it. So, yeah, just have fun, do what you want to do, and have a blast.
Yep. And then, hey, thank you for being here. Thank you for being active in the chat. Thank you for watching through the whole thing and being just a part of it. You guys being here makes it worth it. I mean, it really does.
It's such a blast. And I disappeared for like a second. I did not go into the universe of Twin Peaks. But I could have. You never know. But thank you so much. We have a fun time doing this, and chatting with you guys is the best. Like, I love it.
Makes my day. David,
Same here.
Wolf Creek 3.
That's a good one.
I wouldn't be opposed. I would not be opposed.
That's a good one.
And then Jamie says, thanks, guys. I really appreciate all the advice and subs. I'm about being myself. My channel reflects that, I hope. And that's all that matters. That's
all that matters. I mean, that is all that matters.
I had a channel for 11 years before I started to take it seriously. I have a video that has 50,000 views on it. You know, my Halloween collection from 2012. Like, I've got some big videos from years and years ago. But I never was active enough. You know, I would take months-long breaks, years-long breaks. And then finally in February, I decided to relaunch, and I, took it seriously, and I do it weekly now. And since then, I've gained 300 subs. And I'm doing stuff with Justin every week, and I do stuff with Christian every week. And, I just love the community, and I love the people and the friendships that I've made and the people I've met through doing this. And honestly, the most important thing is, if you're enjoying yourself, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't want you to ever, because we live in a society and an age nowadays where everybody cares about how many likes they get, how many watches they get, how many, just like on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Yeah. None of that matters. Like, like you said, you're being yourself, be yourself. And as long as you're doing that, you're going to have a great time, and you will find your audience. No matter what, you will find your audience. If you are yourself and you stay true to yourself, people will find you, I promise.
That's exactly right. I completely agree. Just be yourself and you'll love it. I mean, it's the best. Like, I've been doing it for 12 years. Let's see. 08. I've been doing it since 08. And I remember Justin I remember back when Justin was in the DVD Fiends. I remember that too. I remember being a part of that. I had such a great time. That was a fun time. That was a fun time, JT. But yeah, I've been around a long time, and I've created some amazing friendships, and I've had a blast, and I'm still having a blast. So
yeah, I mean, and then crying, yeah, I know you've been a sub for a long time, and I'm so happy to keep you around, because I think that's cool that people, even when you go on breaks like that they stick around and they really just they support you no matter what. I mean, it's so cool. Justin can relate, because he's done the same thing. Life sometimes gets you down and gets you busy, and you just don't make videos for a while. And it's not that you don't love to do it. It's just sometimes you lose that passion for it. But I'm back, and I'm really happy that I'm back, and I'm just really enjoying everything that it's every opportunity that's been presented to me and everything that I've been able to put out there, and I'm loving it, and I'm loving these Monday chats, guys. I mean, I'm loving
Me too. You've got me interested in doing live chats, so I plan to do live chats on my channel. We're gonna cross this over, and
yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Hey.
Nick, you're one of the nicest guys, man. I have to just say. So I say it a lot, but I truly mean it. You are just a very nice guy, and as a friend, I'm blessed to have you as a friend and to know you for so long. So.
Hey, I feel the same way. Don't you worry, okay? You could say it to me all the time. I'll still say it to you all the time. We'll just keep reminding each other of that all the time, okay? Because it's very important to remind your friends that they're important to you. I cannot stress that enough. It's very important to check in on people. It's very important to give people, positive feedback. It's just, it means a lot. So I appreciate that, Justin. I feel the same way. And like I said, let's see, David, adore you. You've been favorite YouTuber. Yeah, I know. I know. I've seen you guys for years on my channel too. I appreciate the hell out of it. I mean, it's awesome. And then, yes, I want to say real quick, I am stoked for the Batman. I am
too.
For the Batman.
I am too.
Also, Joker 2 is being made by Todd Phillips. Stoked for that too.
Yes.
Man, how many roads must a man walk down before you can call him a man? Don't know. Is this a troll comment? Is this a troll comment?
I don't know.
Is it a question? Anyway, Jamie, this community rocks. Yes,
it does.
So, with that, guys, I think we're gonna wrap up. I'm gonna go get food. I'm starving.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell Justin off camera real quick what the Halloween items were that I got. And so you guys will have to wait and see. But thanks so much for tuning in this week, guys. It is awesome to have you guys to do these every Monday. Super excited to talk found footage next week. Everybody stay healthy, happy, safe. Have a great week. Make the best out of every day and every way. And okay, so he also says they're Bob Dylan lyrics. Okay, cool. I wanted to make sure no one was messing with us. I was like, is someone messing with us?
Thank you.
But I appreciate you guys so much. Justin, you have any words?
I'm just sending people so much love, and once again, thank you guys so much for joining in. We have such a blast doing this, and I'm thankful for it. And I look forward. This is my Monday. I look forward to it every Monday. But thank you guys so much. Stay positive out there. Enjoy life. Sending so much love to you, and you guys are amazing. So thank you.
All right, guys. I will enjoy my food. I see comments now. David, I could say Chester Bennington lyrics. Come on, I've got Linkin Park tattooed on me. I love them. But I digress. We got to go. So thank you so much, guys. Have a great week. Love you all, and we'll see you next Monday.
Bye, guys.